Hello everyone and welcome. This is Commander Curses and you're watching my review of the Imperial Assault Ship. So I have the Imperial Assault Ship, I'm on the beta server, and let's just have a look at it first. It's a bit different from the Federal Dropship, which has a couple of wings at the bottom, a couple of small ones and a big one at the back of the tail. It's got two sets of wings down the bottom, a big one and a small one, and it's got a couple of little fins underneath the chinny chin. It's got some big cool looking engines, and it's grey, not green, which is the base colour of the Federal Dropship. Let's look at the engines. They're huge. They're bulked out from just the twin engines on the Dropship. I'm going to crash, aren't I? So yeah, it looks pretty cool. It's very similar to the Federal Dropship inside. The only real difference is that it's got red, as you can see on the right hand side, it's got red highlights. Let's do a quick, get out of the way of the arms, but let's do a quick look around the cockpit. Oh, that's not very good. So there you can see the red trim. And it's got a coffee machine. It's got a very similar view to the Federal Dropship, and unlike the Federal Dropship though, it flies really well. The Federal Dropship has been likened to a flying brick many a time, but I have to say that with the loadout available on this ship, the reduced weight and same size thrusters, it flies very well. It's got a top speed of 280, I believe? 240, and a boost speed of 406, compared with the Dropship, which has only a top speed of 202, which is with the A thrusters, which is pretty slow. It's also quite nimble. It flies around. It's very similar, I would say, in my experience, to a Clipper, actually. Even though, whoa, that's some good flying from me. Even though it's you know, it's based on the Dropship, it's actually got some pretty nimble abilities. It still has the problem that the Dropship has of side slip, but a lot of the bigger ships have it. Especially, even the Clipper has that kind of problem. And yeah, it's really quite nice to fly, I have to say. It's got a similar sounding engine to the Dropship and the Clipper. But yeah, it's quite a forgiving ship and quite nice to fly. Right, I'm going to go and we'll try and engage in some combat, and we'll talk about some of the stats of the ship. After a bit of a unexciting combat clip from the Eagle, the Imperial Eagle review, I thought I'd come to a combat zone, which the ships are quite a lot harder. I'm actually giving you a bit of a sneak preview of my next ship. There's this Federal gunship in my sights, and yeah, I'm just going to show you a bit of the combat and a bit of how the ship handles in combat. So as you can see, it's 4 hard points for this ship. There's 2 large and 2 medium, just like the Clipper. Under attack. And it's got a weird, the large hard points are above and below the cockpit, which is kind of a weird layout, I think. Not so bad for turrets, but for, you know, tracking your target, unless it's in the, unless you're kind of turning in the horizontal plane, they don't track the target so well. And the class 2 hard points are on the sides. Not so bad.
Target destroyed.
Which is fine. It's normal. They do a good job at tracking targets. And the ship's loadout is compared with the Dropship, which has 1 large, 2 medium and 4 medium, it's a bit less powerful in the weapons department, I would say. 2 large versus 1 large versus 2 medium. I guess you could make an argument that it's better at attacking larger ships because of the large hard points. But anyway, it has the largest internal cargo point is a class 5, so that's the maximum shield generator you can get, a class 5 shield generator. It has 6 correction, that's compared with the dropship, which has a class 6 internal component. We've got 6 internal compartments compared with 7 on the dropship, so it's a little bit of a downgrade there. And this all justifies the 100-ton kind of reduction in weight of the assault ship versus the dropship. The loadout for power plant, what is it? 1 second. Power plant thrusters, flameshift drive and power distributor is a 6, 6, 5 and 6, which are the classes, which is just the same as the dropship, so they have the same power plant and the same distributor and the same jump capacity. And the cost is 19.8 million credits, which is just the same as, or a few thousand credits different from the base dropship. So one thing that I noticed immediately about building a loadout for the ship is that it has plenty of power. It's got enough power to run full 3 class A shield boosters and class A sensors and your weapons at the same time, and some shield cell boosters. So it's really a powerhouse. It gives you a lot of flexibility with which things you want to add to your build. And with those shield cell boosters and all that extra power, you get a shield strength of 340 megajoules, which is comparable to your Clipper with the Class B shields or your low-rated Vulture. I'm getting a bit attacked here. And it's much higher than all of your small ships. This ship is a medium ship, but it does have that capacity for larger weapons, which is something, since the Vulture has been really appreciated by myself at least.
Warning, temperature critical.
I've noticed it does tend to overheat a tiny amount when you're flying with all 4 lasers running. I don't have any kinetic weapons on the ship, so maybe that's a change you can make. I mean, my Clipper prefer to fly with a couple of cannons and a couple of beams, so it might be a compromise you have to make if you want to, stay fighting for a while. But with the 4 beam setup and the high power plant, I've got someone attacking me. I don't really want that to happen. It's a fighter, but still, it means my shields don't recharge. Yes, so the 4 energy weapon setup is very good, and you could run a couple of rail guns or something if you really wanted. Where's that drop? Where's that gunship? Here it is.
Target destroyed.
Okay. So what loadouts work on this ship? Well, its combat loadout is obviously the intent. It's an assault ship, so it's supposed to assault things. I think maybe it'll come a bit more into play in planetary landings when you get the little buggies that fit inside it and go down onto the planets.
Under attack.
But it doesn't really do very well as a trading build. I mean, you can get a Type 7 for far fewer credits, which has about 3 times the number of cargo spots. Then that's because the ship has much less internal compartments. We also, you can get an Explorer build out of this. It does get, if you downgrade all the weight, all the modules, you can get more than 20
Under
light year
attack.
jump range, which is comparable to what you can get in a Sidewinder or in a... Something's attacking me. Two things are attacking me. I need to get out of here. And so that you can get to the galactic core with that. I know that some people in Sidewinders and Couriers have done that, and so that's what category you're getting into. It's nowhere near what you can get with the, you know, the Cobra or the Diamondbacks or the or nowhere near what you get with the Asp. So it's not really an exploring ship, but and it's not really a trading ship. So what could it be? It can, and this ship and the gunship piqued my interest because they can carry weapons and they've got plenty of power, but not so much cargo. And you could build a ship which was more a defensive trader, which you build with lasers and shields. Not the best shields that you can fit on the ship, but you can put shield cell boosters to kind of help you out there and get cargo. So for a defensive trading ship, this ship kind of goes okay. It's not as good as the base dropship, but the defensive trading build for how much? 35 million. You can get a 17 light year jump range, which is pretty good for trading. 80 cargo and shield of 260 megajoules, which is okay. Compare that with a Type 7, you get 17.3 light years jump, 16.8. A defensive Type 7, 16.8, 200 light years jump range, and a 213 megajoule shield. So it's a bit better, but obviously you lose out on cargo for this ship. Interestingly, though, the defensive trader for the dropship, you get 546 cargo with a 233 shield, 1 class 1. And 4 class 4 hard points, which is far better than what you can get on the Type 7. And yeah, I think that's a real viable build, especially now that the AI has been bumped up and you get a lot more interdictions nowadays in the game. So I find it's pretty easy to keep out of the sights of these larger ships, although you just hit me with a cannon. However, I am finding that it does kind of take a long time to get these hulls down, especially of these military ships in the combat zones, just because it's only 2 large hard points. I mean, I guess you find the same with the Vulture, but I mean, if you use all 4 energy weapons, you run out of power so quick, so it's not so easy. I like the new explosions from the new 1.4 patch. They're really cool. So finally we come to the cost. The A-rated assault ship is a pretty penny. It's a bit cheaper than the dropship, but it is 70.5 million A-rated with some pulse lasers and some beam lasers and all the nice utility weapons. That'll give you a 16.7 jump range and some cargo and a 340 megajoule shield. Oh, he's going to try and run, is he? I don't really have any weapons that are going to help me stop him. It's kind of annoying. And a C-rated Federal Dropship will cost you 27.9 million, which is actually pretty good for a fighting ship. Obviously won't be as good, but yeah, it's really good, and that'll get you a 11 light year jump range, which is pretty bad, and a 276 megajoule shield, which is not so bad. 276 is actually pretty respectable, I would say. And yeah, these pulse lasers really I'm not really keen on. I would think I would rather cannons on this ship, but I'm doing a good job of staying away from the into the blind spot of these Federal ships. And yeah, it's quite good at fighting. So, and it's quite nimble, so I think that it's really a good fun fighter. I think a bit more fun than the dropship, to be honest. Although I've only flown it in the beta, I haven't got one in the real game. Okay, so let's sum up the Federal assault ship. It's a capable fighter, very nimble. It's got enough room to carry some cargo, do a lot of missions, do a lot of fighting. It can even do some exploring if that's what you're after. Looks really cool. It's got a lot of armor, not as much as the dropship, but it's bigger than the normal. For 70 million, you can get an A-rated one, which is just a little less than a A-rated Federlance, and a bit less than a C-rated Python. So it's kind of in the middle of the tens of millions. It's got it's got large hardpoints, so good for taking down big ships and good for taking down little ships. It'll be really good for bounty hunting, I think. And yeah, all around good guy. So thanks for watching this video. I hope that you found it informative. If you have any questions or you want to talk about the assault ship, leave me a comment. And if you would leave a like on the video, I'd really appreciate it. And if you want to see more, please subscribe. This is Commander Cursor signing off. Thank you and safe flying.